Right, 1 January 2021, and I'm joined by Mr. Tinashe Jonas, President of Ideal Zimbabwe. How are you, sir?
I'm so blessed and excited that I am for this crossover into 2021.
Fantastic, and I'm really excited that you are the first guest that I'm going to be having here at Gambako Media in 2021. And I hope that we're going to have many discussions as we usually do. Do you have any resolutions? What have you planned for 2021?
For me, the resolution is unity. Number 2, unity. Number 3, unity. Up to trillion times. We need to be united as Zimbabweans.
Okay, this is an opportune moment for us to talk about this topic because it's related to what you've just said. Did you see the press conference this afternoon by the newly elected president of the MDCT, Douglas Mwonzora?
I saw it.
Okay, so the specific point that I want to talk to, I just want to play it for you. It will be like 30 seconds. I want to discuss it based on this little clip.
Are we going to see any inclusive government in the formation, in the making, between you and ZANU-PF?
That option is with the ruling party itself,
and
not with the opposition.
Is it open?
Well, first of all, it has not been put to us, but let's say it is put to us. We will look at one thing and one thing only, one consideration and one consideration only, and that is whether whatever they propose is in the best interest of the Zimbabwean people. That will be the main factor to inform our decision. But it will not be the decision of the leaders. It will be the decision of the members of the MDC. We will consult on that.
Okay, Mr. Jonas, you heard clearly President Douglas Mwonzora. He is saying if there is going to be a government of national unity, it has to be a proposal from Mnangagwa's government to his political party, which is the biggest political party, opposition party in Zimbabwe. What is your comment on that?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with the President Douglas Mwonzora, because as the opposition, they don't have a say in terms of the government of national unity. It's ZANU-PF which has got that. ZANU-PF which can decide for a government of national unity. But I think it's too early for such talks.
Okay, but what do you mean it's too early? He is the president of the opposition party. He is saying he's willing to talk to the government. He wants to work with the government. What is there to wait for?
All right. I don't have a problem for opposition and political parties to engage because when you are in, I can say an ordinary citizen, an opposition political party and leaders, we are all naturally we are partners of the government, because when you want a passport, when you want a driver's license, you go to the government. So by virtue, every Zimbabwean is a partner of the government. But unfortunately, in our country, we make a mistake that the government and ZANU-PF, we take it as the same thing. And when Mr. Mwonzora says, I want to work with ZANU-PF, people assume that he wants to join his party, and ZANU-PF are going to join into one political party or the GNU. Yet there's no way an opposition leader can work without the government, because you'll be then in political isolation or political quarantine, and your policies, your efforts would yield nothing. I think if there's a government of national unity loading in Zimbabwe, or maybe ZANU-PF has got that proposal, I would propose that government of national unity must be constructed in a longer term basis, probably 10 to 20 years. Why I'm saying that? Because it doesn't help to hold elections after 2 years or 2.5 years, a government of national unity. The question is, why did we waste money on 2018 elections? And now we wanted a government of national unity. A government of national unity to me is a clear admission by the ruling party ZANU-PF that we have failed to govern on our own. ZANU-PF is saying we have got people's mandate, we have got 2/3 majority. So if you have got 2/3 majority, and then it's like you are running a country on a hung parliament, and then you want to co-opt the opposition, it's an admission of failure on ZANU-PF. It will mean ZANU-PF are good in power retention. They don't care about governance skills. On the opposition side, it's an admission that we want to be in government for perks and for allowances, because they're always, it's like opposition MDC is always at a political bus stop waiting for the bus being driven by ZANU-PF leaders to just come, and then they jump into the bus. If ZANU-PF says jump in, they jump in. It means the opposition doesn't have any vision, doesn't have any strategy. They work at the kindness, at the mercy of ZANU-PF. The opposition political parties in Zimbabwe are formed to join the government. Then they are not formed to be the alternative government. Then if there's a government of national unity, it must be long term, because we know that on the left, ZANU-PF is totally failing. On the right, opposition doesn't have any strategies to be in power. So then these are twins, or two sides of a coin. Then we don't have opposition in Zimbabwe. It's an indication that in Zimbabwe we have got a one-party state called ZANU-PF. All other opposition political parties, they are formed as a strategy to join the mainstream government.
Okay, now let's go back to dialogue. There was a dialogue which was being led by former South African President Thabo Mbeki, which didn't take off. And then there was dialogue which was being led by the South African main political party, the ANC, which all ended without a conclusion. Isn't this where we need to pick up, where Senator Douglas Mwonzora said that we need to talk, we need to have a proposal from ZANU-PF? Because ZANU-PF rejected the dialogue that was coming from outside the country. Here is an opposition leader who is saying, let's have an internal discussion. Is that not the correct position to start it?
Okay. Personally, that's why I'm saying there's no country in this world that is run on dialogue basis. By virtue of us being Zimbabweans, we must be naturally be people who are dialoguing. If I'm a Zimbabwean and I wanted to talk to President ED, surely there are channels that I must follow for me to talk to him. If I'm a Zimbabwean and I want to talk to a minister, surely there's a protocol that I can do to talk to the minister. There's no minister who can say, no, I don't want to talk to Tinashe. No, I don't want to talk to John. And surely I want to believe in the president's office. There's no a black book that citizens are listed there, that these ones, they won't meet the president, this one. I mean, a dialogue in Zimbabwe it's hyped. It's like a unique animal coming from the planet Pluto or Mars. We are Zimbabweans. We must be in talks. My problem is when in South Africa there were elections, and the ANC won the elections, and they're governing. In the US, there were the elections, and Donald Trump won, and he governed for 4 years. Now they recently did the elections. Joe Biden won, and he now is awaiting the 20th of January this month to be inaugurated, and then he governed for 4 years. My problem is in Zimbabwe, we don't know how to diagnose our primary problems, primary causes of our problems. Our problem number one is that we have got a ruling party that is focusing on power retention identifying threats to power, neutralizing threats, and not focusing much on economic revival. And then we've got the opposition, which is standing at a bus stop, waiting for the government bus to pass by and jump in. An opposition which is fighting each other. Everyone wants to be a president in MDC. And we've got a problem of Zimbabwean citizens who are politically illiterate. Zimbabweans, we are blind. We don't know what is politics. A Zimbabwean would tell you that I support MDC, although I know that they are like a group of comedians, although I know that they are fighting and dividing every day, but come 2023, I'll vote them. A Zimbabwean will tell you that I support ZANU-PF, although ZANU-PF has got 40 years certified and of failure. Come what may, I'll vote ZANU-PF in 2023. Zimbabweans are politically docile, politically like frozen bodies in a mortuary that are waiting to be shifted, that are waiting burial. They can't decide anything. If a Zimbabwean supports MDC, they will die voting MDC. Binary thinking. A Zimbabwean thinks the way the politics means ZANU-PF means MDC. So Zimbabweans have given ZANU-PF the reason to undermine them. Zimbabweans have given MDC power to undermine them. The comedy that happened between Dr. Kupe, Mr. Mwonzora, Mr. Mudu, that Congress was the MDC was confessing that Zimbabweans, we are giving you a middle finger. We don't care about you. We care about ourselves getting into the position of the president. Surely these four people were supposed to sit and even amicably find someone to take over. I mean, even if the Congress was done, it was blood because these leaders are fighting for power. They're not fighting for people. So I think Zimbabweans are the biggest losers in this whole mess. Zimbabweans are the champions of their own loss. And Zimbabweans, they deserve the economic situation in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans deserve the mess in our country is authored by Zimbabwean ordinary citizens.
Okay, I want to go to what you just said, and I want to look at Pollard. There's a lady who just put a comment here, and she said that there's a Pollard dialogue. The Pollard, what is happening with that Pollard? Where is it happening? Where are the results of Pollard? Is it where people should be dialoguing? You said people should be talking. Is Mnangagwa giving people a platform to talk?
Remember, the situation in Zimbabwe right now is that President Mnangagwa obviously is driving the country, changing gears, turning left, turning right, and every Zimbabwean is watching. We are not putting the president under pressure because as citizens, we think politically. We are not owning the president. The President Mnangagwa is our property, is our asset. For us to decide how the value, the product value of his office. But we are praying that President Mnangagwa must do 1, 2, or 3. We are treating him as a demigod. I mean, and we are to blame because we make our president to be untouchable and is not accountable. We should force the President Mnangagwa to go to parliament, number one. President Mnangagwa must go to parliament and answer questions from elected officials elected by Zimbabweans. President Mnangagwa, number one, must go to parliament and answer questions. We can't be a country that has got leaders who are not accountable. As long as our president is not being questioned by our representative in parliament, we don't have a president. That's number one. Number two, that lack of culture of accountability is making our leaders to be kings and queens. Us as ordinary people, we are then at their mercy. I mean, that's an error in our country. We don't have accountability. Citizens, they don't know that the president and the ministers. I watch parliament debates sometimes, question and answers. I know now that every minister normally sends a deputy minister. When have we seen a minister of defense, Comrade Opamuchinguri, in parliament answering questions, and other ministers? They send deputy ministers, but they want a position of being a minister because they get more allowances, more than a deputy minister. But they don't want to rise up to the demands of the job. So the citizens of Zimbabwe have created the presidency, the office of the president, to be the office of God. The citizens of Zimbabwe are making the office of the minister to be the office of the God. So we are run at the mess of our leaders, because we worship our leaders, we hero worship them, we bootlick them.
Okay, I hear you, but I still want to go back to the issue of a dialogue and a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Mnangagwa, is he giving people a platform to talk?
Okay.
There was Chamisa.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Chamisa wanted to talk to Mnangagwa. The South Africans came, Thabo Mbeki came, and Mnangagwa refused to talk to Chamisa. He said,
okay,
come to Poland.
Okay. Let me. Okay.
Yeah. I was saying, here's Douglas Mwonzora. He's saying, I want dialogue. I'm even open to considering an inclusive government. Where does Mwonzora go to talk to Mnangagwa? Is Poland working? Have we ever seen a report from Poland?
Okay.
Ever since it was formed?
Okay, your question, I think, is in three phases. Number one, President Mnangagwa to open platforms of dialogue in first reference to Mr. Nelson Chamisa. The second is referring to Mr. Douglas Mwonzora. The third one refers to Poland. Let me touch on Mr. Nelson Chamisa dialoguing President E.D. Mnangagwa. First, item number one, you mentioned the ANC coming in. Comrade Thabo Mbeki, Comrade maybe ANC, including their head of delegation, Secretary General Esther Mahashule. I support President E.D. in defying ANC. Why? ANC is the ruling party of South Africa, which means it's the government of South Africa. And ZANU-PF is the government of Zimbabwe. We are Zimbabweans because of our sovereignty. Our pride is self-governance. So ANC, when it comes to Zimbabwe, it must come at the will of ZANU-PF, of the government of Zimbabwe. It can't interfere. Interference is not allowed. ANC can just fly into Zimbabwe and then want to sit down President E.D. and Chamisa. So on defying ANC, I give the President E.D. Mnangagwa 100% marks. Number two, President E.D. Mnangagwa must not talk to Chamisa now and forever. Why? Chamisa doesn't want a dialogue. Chamisa is clear that if I meet President E.D., I am saying, give me my jigis angle. Chamisa is saying to E.D., give me presidential power. And then after the meeting, walk back home to your house as an ordinary Zimbabwean. That is not wanting a dialogue. That is a hallucination. That is an indication of a leader who is sent by imperialists to push a narrative that is not his own. Chamisa is not condemning sanctions. Why? Because sanctions are put by America, which is in his corner. So President E.D. must not meet Chamisa now and forever. If he meets Chamisa, he must then resign with immediate effect. Then let me go to what Chamisa is not a Zimbabwean. Politically, Chamisa is an American. And he must go and campaign to be governor of the state of California in the US with his bootlickers, and Welshman. And then I go to Mr. Douglas Mwonzora. Before I talk about the dialogue of Mr. Mwonzora, let me touch on Poland. Poland, to me, from the beginning, Poland was just a waste of resources. Poland is going to be a waste of resources. Right now, probably, I think maybe it's a year or so now. There's nothing. I know Poland members, maybe what they've done so far is to feed the fish in the farm of President Mnangagwa in Kwekwe. Apart from that, I don't remember anything. Poland was a failure, is a failure, and to me to be a failure. And then the dialogue between President ED and Mr. Mwonzora, it mustn't be judicially structured. It mustn't be constitutionally structured. Mr. Mwonzora can drive to the president's office. To me, they must start with informal talks and talk and share notes, share ideas as the citizens of Zimbabwe. It mustn't be properly MDC meetings, ZANU-PF, and they must share notes and share ideas. But if it's now a legal discussion to join the two parties, to me, that is the total failure of the people of Zimbabwe. Because if our problem is economic, then we surely ZANU-PF, as the President Mnangagwa, I want to believe he appointed these ministers on ability, on merit. If ZANU-PF has failed to run to govern, they must resign. They must just resign. But this cut and paste government, kind of government, to me, it's insulting Zimbabweans who voted. This cut and paste thing, to me, it's a joke. And if they form that government of national unity, they must be clear that both camps have failed. And the Zimbabweans must vote a third political party come 2023. Because these people are shaming our constitution. These people are shaming our right to vote. I mean, why must we vote in 2023 or any other year when we know that our vote doesn't count? These people would sit in some Mikus hotel, in some Sheraton hotel, and decide our future.
Okay. So, Mr. Jonas, I think I hear you. You say that Mr. Mwonzora must drive to ED Mnangagwa's office and just say, I want to talk. Do you think Mnangagwa has that? Chamisa wrote a number of letters to Mnangagwa. He said that he approached him a number of times and Mnangagwa did not respond. That is what he said.
Okay,
and we are saying
thank you.
Poland is not working. Is the problem not Mnangagwa not wanting to engage?
Okay. Let me talk about myself. Personally, I'm engaging. Let me witness as Tinashe Jonas. The president's office, I think, is open 24 hours to the people who want to engage the president on what can I say, on national interests. To me, the president's office has proven it's open to anyone because of my personal experience. Anyone who says ED is not easy to engage, that Chamisa has got preconditions of meeting and of engaging a president ED. Remember, ED as the president has got advisors. As the president he has got advisors from two fronts, advisors from ZANU-PF as a party, then government advisors. How can you? How could you meet someone who says by the end of the meeting or by the end of the dialogue, I must be the president and you must relinquish your post? Chamisa on the left wanted to engage with the ED. On the right, he is saying, ED, you are illegitimate. I am the winner. If Chamisa is the winner of the 2018 elections, then why must he meet with ED? Because in that meeting, ED is an ordinary Zimbabwean. If ED is an ordinary Zimbabwean, why Chamisa can't grab even Fantani of Chill Sport records in Mbare and have a dialogue? Because the moment we say ED is not a president, he didn't win the elections, then there's no need of engaging ED's office. because then it's stuffed with ordinary people, or maybe we can say criminals, because we are saying they stole the vote. If you want to engage in this office, surely number one, you must recognize his office, and you must recognize ED as the president of Zimbabwe. If you don't want to recognize him, it's your right. Then don't meet him. Meet someone you recognize.
Okay, I understand the point of Chamisa, but the question still remains. Why does Mnangagwa not set up proper structures for dialogue?
Okay. Thank you for that.
So let's go to Mwonzora. Mwonzora has said he has never been approached. He doesn't know where to go. He basically said that, if I replay that for you, he said, if they approach me, I will go. Similarly, Chamisa approached Mnangagwa, but he did not get a response until he had to go to South Africa to ask South Africans to assist him.
Mr. Gambagwe, let's be honest. Chamisa is on. Remember, Chamisa, I don't know if I were good, I was supposed to make him gay, so that his behavior is feminine. To me, he behaves like a woman. He's not a man. But the wife has got the relevance. What I'm trying to say here is, before the election results were announced by ZEC, MDC is on record that they got a call from Mnangagwa's office. Chamisa is on record that we all know George Charamba as the spokesperson of ED. They offered even Chamisa a position of the official opposition. ED's office tried their best to engage with Chamisa, and Chamisa refused. After refusal, Chamisa thought that ED's office would be always on their phones, calling his office. They are human beings. They have got their own pride. They've got everything. Chamisa was engaged on several times. Chamisa is not denying that. Charlton Wende is not denying that. But they refused. And then went on record to say, after the Constitutional Court demanded them bringing V11s, they had no V11s. But they lied to Zimbabweans that Tabani Mpofu, their lawyer, was sleeping in secrets because he was with the V11s, and the CIOs wanted to confiscate the V11s. Come court day, they no V11s. Why they no V11s? Let me tell Zimbabweans and MDC Alliance supporters. MDC Alliance, they do no V11s because they have got many places they never fielded candidates like councillors. They had many places they never fielded candidates like member of parliament. So they didn't have enough V11s. They were supposed to swallow their pride and accept that they've lost the court challenge and accept that ED is the president. So, I mean, now that Chamisa wants, ED is engaging. I'm talking with my own experience. The office of ED is engaging, but you can't go to someone who is the president of the country with conditions. I can't come to you, Mr. Gambagwe's house, and I say, when I visit you, maybe your kids must go back to Zimbabwe for me to come and have a dinner with you. Obviously, you are in control. ED is in control of Zimbabwe right now. ZANU-PF is in control of Zimbabwe now. They are running the system of governance. Surely, if I want to go and meet ED in his office, I can't go to his office as the dominating force. I must follow the office's protocol. I must put my pride, my tail between my legs and go to meet with ED. Chamisa must swallow his pride. Chamisa must resign as an American agent and become Zimbabwean. Surely there's wisdom in swallowing your pride. Surely there is wisdom in respecting elders and authority. Because one day, if Chamisa wants to be a president of Zimbabwe, he would want people to respect his office and respect. We don't respect ED, but we are bound to respect his office. And this office is run by him. So every sane Zimbabwean must respect ED at the moment.
Okay, I hear you, and I still want to continue on that point.
ED, okay, let me answer this and say this. ED is not under any legal um, pressure to create any structure of people to engage with him. ED is in a structure called the president's office. ED, by being in the office of the president, is a government structure. The president's office has got departments, there are spokespersons, there are administrations. ED has got ministers who are in different departments. ED has got the government of Zimbabwe is represented in every corner: national government, provincial, district, local government, whatever you can call it. The problem is the structure in Zimbabwe is the structure in South Africa, is the structure in America. There's no president who create a structure to say anyone who want to see me, see me. His office is a government structure.
Okay, so your proposal is that it's actually Mwonzora and his party that should approach Mnangagwa for dialogue.
But define the dialogue. The dialogue must not, remember, ZANU-PF is running the country. The dialogue is not to say, we are MDC, you are ZANU-PF, right? Let's run the country. That's not the dialogue. The dialogue is MDC, if they've got certain ideas in terms of problem identification and problem resolution, they can go to ED's office or ZANU-PF and submit their submissions. And then it's ZANU-PF discretion to pick what they pick and what not to pick. If then government in ZANU-PF think the way forward is the GNU, then that's it. But when Mwonzora and company go to ED's office or ZANU or the government of Zimbabwe, they must go as private citizens. They mustn't go and say we are an opposition party. Let's sit down and talk about the governance of the country. ZANU-PF, they don't have a political party in their face. They don't have any important person in their face because they are representing Zimbabweans, including Tinashe, including Douglas Mwonzora, including MDCT.
Okay, I want to acknowledge the people who are complaining about the statement on women. So I've got a lot of comments here. When you mentioned that Chamisa is a woman, I've got quite a number of people saying that was not right. So I acknowledge that comment. Then I want to acknowledge Shinga Peresu. I wish you could WhatsApp me and we have you talk here. You know my number. You can WhatsApp my number and we put you on this discussion. Because I don't understand this issue of Pollard. And Mr. Jonas, I don't think you have covered this issue.
Okay, Pollard,
what have they ever, why does Mnangagwa keep Pollard? If it's not producing any reports, if it's not doing anything, if it's not a proper dialogue.
To me, Pollard is to be honest, I don't understand, because the government of Zimbabwe is well structured constitutionally to identify any challenges and resolve any challenges in the country. I seriously don't know why Pollard was created and to serve whose interest. And I think I'm a student of politics in terms of Pollard, and maybe I'm going to learn a lot.
Okay, so Pollard is dead, and something else needs to happen there.
I mean, there is ZANU-PF, a political party which is well structured. There's a government of Zimbabwe which is constitutionally structured. I don't know whether Pollard is a commission of inquiry. I don't know what Pollard represents, because the dialogue of what? That's why I say, personally, I know people in dialogue in Pollard feeding fish in Kwekwe. I don't know any other activity.
Okay, so if Douglas Mwonzora and his new team were to create a position paper and take it to Mnangagwa, and they say they want the GNU, would you agree to, would you see that as a good thing, to have a GNU to solve the problems we have in Zimbabwe?
Okay, my problem is, I am recognizing the presence of Mnangagwa. I'm recognizing ZANU-PF as in power. Now, so I don't know why, what is, Is ZANU-PF is the ZANU-PF government shortage of certain ministries? I don't know. I think if I can be called, if there's any Pollard or government of national unity, if I'm called to propose, I would only propose there must be a ministry of evaluation which oversee maybe other ministries, so that every ministry is mandated maybe quarterly or quarterly or I mean or whatever period to submit what is their target in a certain period and what is the achievement, so that certain ministers in Zimbabwe are fired on incompetency. Me, that's my proposal. Otherwise, the GNU to me is insulting voters. GNU, I said, it's if there's a GNU, Zimbabweans must know that ZANU-PF is a total failure, MDC is a total failure. And 2023, Zimbabweans must look for any other political party. Because why must we vote GNU? Vote GNU. To me, that is comedy.
Okay, let me give you my 3 key points which I would be thinking about if I was going to approach Mnangagwa. The first one would be depolarization. The second one would be reforms. And then the third one would be the demand by international partners for a genuine dialogue. There is that demand out there. The United States has made that demand. The European Union has made that demand. So these are the 3 reasons why I would approach Mnangagwa. If I was Mwonzora, right, I would approach Mnangagwa and say, this is what is on the table. These are the drivers.
Okay.
Are those not important drivers?
Okay, they are important because they are coming from a Zimbabwean called Pardon Gambakwe, who has got a right to voice in the governance of his country. But let me proffer my own personal view on your 3 key drivers. Number 1, the demand of international partners. US can't dictate to Zimbabwe about how to run Zimbabwe, because remember, Zimbabwe is accused of rigging elections by US, and right now we know that in the US there's a problem of rigging of elections. so US has been pretending to be the ideal democratic democracy in the world, and to be the head boy, to be the supervisor of democracy. But we all know it's a public secret that blacks are being abused in America. It's a public secret that also in US there's no multi-party democracy per se. Democracy is shared on 2 political parties. There are so many things we can talk about US, but let me just say, US must respect Zimbabwe as a self-governing country. This big brother mentality is what we don't want as a country. So we won't run Zimbabwe to please the US. We won't run Zimbabwe to please South Africa or whatever. And then on the issue of you say a genuine dialogue, I still have a problem, Mr. Gambakwe, with this issue of genuine dialogue. I don't know why Zimbabweans want ZANU-PF to win elections and then start a new process of genuine dialogue. When South Africa, when ANC win elections, there's no genuine dialogue. When every country in the world, when a certain political party wins elections, they run the country. I think this issue of dialogue is a secret of opposition political party, especially MDC, to either go back door to GNU. I don't understand, because in our constitution there's nothing called dialogue. Our constitution talks about elections, and the winning party with the 2/3 majority governs. I mean, I don't understand where the animal called dialogue comes from. Because as I say, if I can call the president's office now, obviously there's someone who is going to answer with a reception or whatever, and they are going to tell me the procedure for me to meet the president or to meet the minister. I don't know where this. I think this dialogue is a narrative that is new to Zimbabwe, not in any other country.
Okay, I think let's come to an end of this discussion. If you were Mnangagwa, given the crisis in the country, unemployment, economic crisis, political crisis, social crisis, healthcare crisis, would you just sit down and do nothing?
Okay, all right. Okay, a good question. I want to say I'm not defending ED, but obviously ED is not sitting down and doing nothing. I think people want to say ED is busy working if he meets up with Chamisa or he meets up with MDC in general. That's not the job cut of the president. I'm 100% sure that if Mr. Mwonzora can phone ED's office or can drive to ED's office, I'm definitely confident if ED is not busy, he would meet up with him. Zimbabweans must know that ED is engaging. I'm not his spokesperson, but I'm talking from experience. ED is engaging without conditions. And I don't want to mention what ED is doing, but I am saying Zimbabweans, we are educated, we have got solutions to our country. It's the duty of ED prescribed by the Constitution of Zimbabwe that ED must unite the nation. And we saw his right-hand woman, the first lady, introducing a Zimbabwe national dress. What was happening in the social media, it was treated as a ZANU-PF dress. It was treated as a way to loot the money. It is fraud. Surely, what do we want the first family to do? Because we are waiting to criticize. If ED can walk and people asked to comment, everyone might have a negative comment about the work. Surely, I think our mindset, ED can't go to Zimbabweans and kneel down and say, can we get united? ED is a Zimbabwean who plays his part as a Zimbabwean. We all need to play our part. But the problem of Zimbabweans is that we surrendered our future to our political leaders, to our prophets, to our political leaders. Zimbabweans surrendered their destiny, their future. That's why our country is run on anointing oil. Our country is run on prophecy. Surely, if God is alive, He created us to use our wisdom to think. There's no way in the Bible that people are banned from planning, from thinking, and then they should just rely on a prophet. To me, we are given up on life. So we want ED, we want Chamisa, we want Mwonzora, we want our leaders to come up with solutions. Where are we as Zimbabweans? Democracy defines the majority rule. But in Zimbabwe, we want a meeting between ED and Mwonzora and Chamisa, probably 5 or 10 people. Are these Zimbabweans? Are they the brains of the nation?
Okay, Mr. Jonas, I want to end this discussion with the issue of depolarization.
Yeah.
I sent you this afternoon a post by Hope Chingono.
Yes.
There were 2 messages of congratulations.
Yeah.
From Mnangagwa. One to Chamisa, one to Mwonzora.
Yes.
And somehow Zimbabweans are saying it was okay for Mnangagwa to congratulate Chamisa, but when he congratulates Mwonzora, he's a puppet. And I look at that as polarization. There's nothing that can happen in Zimbabwe that is not somehow going to be controversial, especially something done by Mnangagwa. Even if the economy was to improve today and there's cash in the economy, it will still be a controversial issue. Don't you think this is where the dialogue needs to focus, to bring people together? Is that not the purpose of a proper dialogue?
Okay, I'll still talk about the dialogue, but unity of purpose in a country won't be driven by ED. ED won't be flying in a helicopter holding a megaphone saying Zimbabwe it's now time to unite. I mean, what is unity? The polarization you are talking about now, I remember I was also an agent of polarization. Myself, I was an agent of polarization. Anything about ED, anything ZANU-PF to me was from hell. But I changed my mindset so that I see every Zimbabwean with their as an equal partner in my country. MDC alliance must stop demonizing anything about ZANU-PF, anything about the government of Zimbabwe. They must separate the MDC alliance. They are competing with ZANU-PF, not with the government of Zimbabwe. So what we need is a complete overhaul of our mindset. What we need is to recognize each other. Look at the comments. There are some Zimbabweans who believe I'm insane, and surely how can I be insane? I'm not insane at any medical aspect. I mean, MDC alliance are the polarization agents in our politics, because Chamisa doesn't recognize anyone. He doesn't recognize anyone. Okay, I'll say this on record. I think around the first week of December, I was supposed to meet up with the comrade leader Charlton Wende, and honestly speaking, these people, when you are engaging with them to meet them, they run around, they agree, they don't, they agree, they don't. MDC alliance thinks they are the 90% shareholders of the Zimbabwean politics. Every person, I mean, I gave up. As I speak to you, I'm no longer interested at any time in my life to meet up with any leadership from MDC alliance. They're full of themselves. They think that everyone needs them to breathe. I want to meet Chamisa in my life, and I don't want to meet anyone from alliance. And I want to believe that's the same thing with ED. I want to believe these people, they condemn everything with their agency. And this Fazai Maere, they are misguided. Zimbabwean politics would come and go without them. Robert Mugabe was like the larger than life, the owner of Zimbabwean politics. Who thought Mugabe would be out of power and Zimbabwe could continue? Who thought that Mugabe can even be no more? No one is superior in Zimbabwe. We are equal Zimbabweans. So this alliance is a cancer in our politics.
Okay, but that's one-sided view, because you are saying the problem is only coming from MDC alliance side. Don't you think ZANU-PF is also doing something wrong? And don't you think if everyone was to sit around the table and this one says you are doing this wrong and this one says you are doing this wrong, the same way you saw the light, everyone also can see the light? Is that not Mnangagwa's duty to bring people together around the table? Okay,
thank you. When I realized my shortcomings, that I'm spreading hate, and I remember I was agitating of even uprising, war, civil war. When I realized my mistakes, I engaged so many people. You know, I did a public apology to Nelson Chamisa, to everyone. I found leaders like I talk with the leaders like Comrade Mwonzora. I talk with leaders like Dr. Kupe and other leader, Prof. Maduku. Leaders like Dr. Ngosana Moyo. Any leader I call, Mr. Gambagwe, believe me, they talk to me nicely, we engage, and we laugh. You can't call the Chamisa Chete Brigade. Personally, I'm talking from my personal opinion. ZANU-PF, I can call Comrade Matema Danda, I can call anyone. I can call Comrade Chris Mchangwa. I can remember what I've said to them. But they are engaging. And so I'm talking as Tinashe here. I'm not talking as anyone else. ZANU-PF, I've called people that I've insulted to the last level, and they welcome me. I've been welcomed by APA, the part of Mr. Ngosana Moyo. I've been welcomed by NCA of Prof. Matuku. I talk to almost every leader in Zimbabwe without a problem, but not MDC Alliance.
Okay, so I think let's wrap this up. We're almost up to an hour. The first thing you said was that there's no need for Mnangagwa to call Mwonzora with a proposal for a GNU or for an inclusive government or for dialogue, because Mwonzora himself and his party can write to Mnangagwa with their ideas and with their proposals, and Mnangagwa will look at what works and what does not work. The second point you made is that Pollard is dead, and there's no reason for having set up Pollard at all. They should, in fact, I guess you're suggesting that this is the body that is not serving any purpose. And then finally, you came to the point where you said MDC Alliance is actually the problem in Zimbabwe. They don't listen, they don't want to talk to anyone. They are proud of themselves. And Chamisa only wants to talk to Mnangagwa about getting into office or saying he won the elections, he won his jiggies back. So let's summarize this nicely. If you were Mnangagwa, what would you change? Given the situation we have in Zimbabwe, what would you change?
If I was Mnangagwa, I was going to make sure that the MDC Alliance doesn't exist. Probably in the next 2-3 months, MDC Alliance must stop existing, because you can't be a president in a country and you allow a certain political party which is clearly serving the interest of a Western power. There are two types of attacks to a country. Number one, internal attacks. That's corruption, that's tribalism, that's whatsoever. Those are internal economic challenges. Those are internal attacks. Sanctions is an external attack. MDC Alliance doesn't believe that when you talk about sanctions in Zimbabwe, MDC Alliance jump into corruption. Corruption and sanctions are two different subjects. If there's corruption in Zimbabwe, then there's corruption. But let's not marry corruption to sanctions. If I was the president of Zimbabwe, I would make sure I deal with MDC Alliance, and within 2 months they must stop existing. And if I can meet the President ED, I would beg him to finish MDC Alliance.
And you think that will solve the problem we have right now in Zimbabwe?
100%, because if you talk to Dr. Ngosana Moyo, he's an engaging leader. He's a wise man. You talk to any leader, Dr. Mwonzora, Mr. Mwonzora. I admire that guy. He's level-headed. He's carrying a cool head. I mean, it's only. I wish I can even physically beat those Wendes and Chamisa. I'm telling you.
Okay, I don't think they will appreciate that statement, because they are already complaining that you are almost always against MDC Alliance.
If I can know their offices, when I go to Zimbabwe this January, I would burn the offices.
Okay, all right. I think let's bring it to an end at this particular point. I think the coming of Senator Mwonzora into the MDC is a significant event, and we have a lot to talk about. Tomorrow, I'm going to be having, if everything goes well, Chairman Dan Moyo from the United States MDCT. You know, he was aligned to Dr. Thokozani Kupe. So we're also having to discuss the issues that happened at the Congress. We've heard the side of Senator Mwonzora. Now I want us to see and hear the side of Dr. Thokozani Kupe. So tomorrow we're going to be hearing about that. Do you think the opposition is too polarized? They need to put the house in order before they talk to Mnangagwa?
Mnangagwa is open to talk to. Remember, people in opposition, they are also in private citizens. So Mnangagwa's office is open to talk to engage, even if they go in their individual capacity. Even if you go, I mean, we should not expect anything unique. If MDC have got ideas, they must take them to ZANU-PF is in charge of Zimbabwe right now. As people in opposition, we must admit ZANU-PF is in power. And then if we know that, then if we have got ideas, let's take our ideas to the office of the president, to the government departments, to ministers, to ZANU-PF. I mean, we are not in power. So, Mr. Mwonzora must not think of meeting Mr. Mnangagwa in Dubai and have a dialogue that is from heaven. ZANU-PF is in power, and that's a fact.
Okay, Mr. Jonas, I want to just add something to what you said. I personally tried to get hold of government ministers, and none of them responded to me. So okay. I don't know how they are responding to you, and they never responded to my inquiries through formal channels.
Okay, okay. Mr. Gabagwe, I won't speak on your behalf, but I'm so confident that if anyone was the government, to me, starts from the even councillor, the MP, to the minister. Surely these people are in these offices and their public offices. I wouldn't know your personal experience, but to me, it's a common knowledge that any public office bearer mustn't be healthy. I mean, heaven smash to engage them.
Okay, I think let's bring this to an end. With a lot of people watching today, and we're almost on an hour. It's our first broadcast of the year. And Mr. Jonas, I really like your ideas. Many people like your ideas. You saw what happened at Bed Bridge. You had talked about it 2 weeks previously. So I really appreciate everything that you do, talking to us here almost 3 to 4 times a week. And I also invite other people to come and join us here. The Alliance guys, I talk to them behind the scenes, but there's a bit of disorder in their communications department. Unfortunately, I've never been able to find anyone in the MDC Alliance office who is available to talk. And you can see they're also not talking. If you go to their platforms, MDC Alliance is very quiet. There's no communication going on there. So when they get organized, I'm going to bring them here on the platform so that we can talk to someone who give us the idea or the side of the MDC Alliance. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
Yeah, no, I want to say national interests. Zimbabwe is not for only us, the current generation. Zimbabwe is also for our children, our grandchildren. So let us take this opportunity to be united. When I say to Zimbabweans, let's get united, I'm not saying let's be ZANU-PF. I'm not saying let's be MDC. Maintain your political party, but the word Zimbabwe must be our umbrella, our national umbrella. Your political party is it's a small umbrella which is under the bigger tent, which is Zimbabwe. ED is from Zimbabwe. General Chiwenda is from Zimbabwe. Douglas Mwonzora is from Zimbabwe. Chamisa is a Zimbabwean. Wende is a Zimbabwean. Although they think they are lying to themselves that they are special Zimbabweans, but they are not. They are just lucky that probably ED or ZANU-PF, they are very soft people. Otherwise, if it was me, I was going to make sure that there is nothing called the MDC Alliance within an hour.
Okay, I can see this is a topic that you really feel strongly about. And I hope that one day we will bring an MDC Alliance person here to answer to your allegations and to your accusations that they're the problem in Zimbabwe. I don't think they agree with you that they're the problem in Zimbabwe.
I wish you can bring an MDC person so that I'm happy to engage with any MDC Alliance person. I'm happy to engage.
Okay, Mr. Jonas, thank you very much for joining us today on the first broadcast of 2021. And to everyone who's watching, thank you very much. We're going to be back tomorrow with another guest. Mr. Jonas, we'll talk to you again very, very soon.
Thank you so much, and good night.